Can you hear in those headphones pretty well? Cool.
So these are go-to questions? Or these are like my main points I want to try to get?
Probably the main points,
okay.
Yeah. Whatever those are going to be. I mean, Jillian might tell you different.
This is great. I don't even know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. Huh?
Okay. That security guard's going to be here pretty soon.
What time do we have to leave?
We told him 4, didn't we? It's okay.
We'll just interview him next.
Yeah. That's a
While
good
you're
idea.
here, how was your day today?
Alright, I'm good. Oh, we are good. Okay, Trip, it's a pleasure to have you here. You know, one of the great musicians in today's society. And
I rock pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, you shred it, bro. And you just, I admire you. And just want to know a little bit about your life and your career and, you know, inside the life and the mind of Trip. So from my understanding, it started off in Arkansas, and then you moved to Colorado, and then to California. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. My road was kind of rocky.
Okay.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
You know, over the Rocky Mountains.
I see. Can you tell me a little bit maybe about your childhood and high school days?
Wow, it's a lot of information at once.
Okay, I mean, just a few things that stuck out that maybe, you know, made you the person you are today.
Oh, man. Could you be more specific? I guess, like...
Okay. Any major moments, major events that really shook you pretty hard, maybe that made your character stronger?
Okay, let me think about this.
Okay.
Maybe I can come up with something. I mean, I guess a lot of my influences were from my friends.
Okay.
Like me and my buddy Chuck were like our dads were, you know, pretty hardworking dads, and they weren't around too much, so we always had some extra time after school to just hang out and watch some TV and just screw around, and eventually, you know, started watching some MTV. We got into the whole age where, you know, Green Day was big, and we were seeing all these, you know, Nirvana videos and get into that whole garage rock type of thrashing, and so we just started, you know, picking up instruments and playing. I mean, I got my guitar and he got some drumsticks. We just pretty much, you know, flipped a coin. They're like, what do you like to play? And he's like, oh, I like to play this. I'm like, well, I kind of like the guitar too. So it just kind of worked out naturally, you know. And so we started playing, and the more we played, the better we got.
Okay, nice. You know, I've heard a lot of success stories in that way. You know, they had something in their heart, that desire they wanted to play, and just took off and ran with it. So, now that you're famous, I just want to, what is your view as being a role model to so many young people and throughout the world, and just a face through the television for people to see? Do you feel like you hold responsibility for that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it depends. Most people some people are watching TV now, and they spend so much time watching TV now that they see like me and my buddy. We see these people on TV, and that's who we're emulating because we're watching them all the time. I mean, who else are we gonna act like when most of our attention is focused toward the television? I mean, teachers, come on. No. So yeah, I guess when I perform and when I'm thinking about the songs I write, I always have my audience in mind and what they're gonna get from that song, I guess you could say. What kind of ideas they might formulate, and I'm very aware of what I feel when I write it. But also there's a significant portion of my thought goes to goes to what might be disseminated, what ideas are getting thrown out there. So that's why I try to stay a little bit ambiguous in my lyrics, so people can try to use those as something to look up to, those words that I'm putting out, but they can't like say this is what it means, and I'm gonna follow this because that's exactly what he wants me to do. This guy who I emulate. So I think that people will take really what they want from it and enjoy the music at the same time.
Very respectable point of view.
I'm a respectable guy. What can I say?
Okay. All right, and you said Kurt Cobain, maybe, or you mentioned Nirvana. Was Kurt Cobain one of your big influences throughout your musical career?
Sadly, yes. I mean, that's the thing about the '90s is that a lot of the musicians their stuff was so in tune with the collective conscience of the United States. So like, here we are watching this guy who's so emotionally in tune and provocative and all these things that attract our attention to listen to his music. But at the same time, here you've got a guy that's doing all these hardcore drugs, and so yeah, I guess me and my friends did experiment a little bit around, because when you're young, you're very impressionable, and the movie stars are doing it, your friends are doing it, you're gonna pick up a little marijuana and smoke it too, but thankfully in our case we didn't pick up the hardcore drugs like old Curdy did. So and even by his unfortunate passing away, we kind of learned a strong lesson about where that road leads, and I think that sets a good example for our age. I mean, I hate to say that his death, it was a good thing, but put in that context, he really did show us the darker side of our music, and where that can go if we don't stay in check with what we're doing.
Well, it's great to hear that you're very conscious about your role in society, and that you want to make a difference, a positive impact on people that listen to your music. I've been told a little bit about you getting involved in political activism and just making your point be heard. Can you tell me a little bit where or how that sparked?
Man, I think it happens the same for everybody. That every celebrity that goes out to Africa and gets a taste of what reality is really like for those people, so that are struggling in poverty, and some of the governments in certain countries are a little bit not as democratic as ours is, and so it also we feel a lot of pain and suffering, but we're also not seeing from their perspective, it would be a little different. They don't know, like for example, they don't know democracy, so they would maybe not know how fortunate we feel to have it. I don't know, but my point is that you go out there and you feel sympathy. You're right there in the mix with things going on, and that's your way of feeling sympathy, and that's your way of wanting to do something good for someone else. Then I think that's okay. So when I'm political and I'm speaking out, I'm not so much about saying this is what needs to change, or this is what we should do to help these people, or anything like that. I mean, because maybe they don't want to be helped. The whole thing I do is I go out there and I say it's like, hey, these are people that are actually asking for maybe a little bit of extra monetary support so they can go to school, or they can have a vaccine for this certain disease. So I try to get involved in things like that have very specific endpoints that are wanted and not forced upon other people. So when I say I'm political, I guess I'm not so much political. It's more like I'm just trying to help out a little bit for people who want that help, and for reasons that I feel strongly about. So that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. So what I'm getting here is just a man with a guitar that just wants to make a difference in the world, and to help people that are hurting, and to just help guide people in a way. And we got pretty deep pretty fast here, and
I know, man. I need a tissue.
yeah, and I just hopefully this will touch your fans, and people can get into the mind of Trip a little bit more, and just thank you for your time. Thank you.
Sure. Glad to be here. I just want to thank everybody for listening to my story. It meant so much to me that she was so interested. And what are you laughing at? Does it look ridiculous? Do I have a booger hanging out of my nose? Fire! That was weird. I actually felt like that guy, and I was like, after I got into the Africa thing, that was like really. I see what you mean about the politics.